Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we got the all-new Null Knives Vandal. This thing is a beast. This is the largest design coming from Null Knives to date. This is going to be a live drop, no pre-order. Like I said, it's a big knife coming in at 8.75 inches overall. It has a 3.85 inch Tanto blade, and these are in Vanax SuperClean, one of my favorite steels. It's a nitrogen-based steel that you don't really have to worry about rusting at all. It holds a great edge. It's fairly tough. It's just an all-around excellent steel. I'm not 100% sure the OEM. It doesn't say on his notes. It's either Riot or Best Tech. Regardless, the fit and finish on these is top tier. That's all I really can say. This is one of my favorite blade finishes. It's like a polished stone wash finish, just like on my Null Knives Voodoo. Just such a classy looking blade finish. And we have a compound ground blade here. You got a nice deep hollow grind in the straight edge portion, and then a flat grind in the Tanto tip portion. And then another thing that I think looks really good, and I wish I would see this more often, these swedges up here, as you can see there, are concave, so they did a hollow grind on both sides there. And I don't know, I think it looks so good whenever, especially when you have a double hollow grind. You got the hollow grind here and then the hollow grind here. They just complement each other very, very well. So it's basically a two-tone finish because you have that reflective stone wash throughout, and then you have the blasted finish in the blade window on both sides. You have these like triangle-shaped thumb studs that have some texture there. They're actually comfortable and they work great. You have some very functional jimping. You have a forward choil. At least I can fit my finger up there, no problem. It's nice and comfortable. Even though that swedge is going to thin out that area a little bit, they stop shy. You can see right, hopefully you can see right there, they stop shy of the tip. So you still have a nice, robust tip there. So if you need to do a little tip work, you're going to be fine. Now, something that I don't love seeing, you can see the plunge grind is coming to the back, the heel of the edge right here. So you may start to catch a smile right whenever you sharpen this one. You can see the plunge grind goes right there. I don't love seeing that. I wish they could have brought the plunge grind, especially being that it's almost a straight plunge. If they would have brought the plunge grind all the way back here, you could have all the sharpening life. Now, I haven't looked at the updates yet. We will look at those at the very end. But knowing Null Knives, he probably has addressed that. But I like to give you all my thoughts before I look at any of that stuff, because I'm just going to go straight to it. So should be a functional blade. You have belly to that Tanto, so you can use that on a flat cutting surface. You can still use the tip. Should be a really versatile blade. Being that you have the belly for the Tanto, you don't have a crisp secondary point, which is fine. This is more of a Japanese Tanto. And if I got to choose between this and Americanized, this is usually the way I'm going to go. I'm not a Tanto fan, but I found these to be a lot more versatile. In my personal opinion, you know, they both have their places and what they're good at. The action on this thing, remarkable. Just like every Null knife that I've had on this channel. You got those thumb studs. Excellent. Yeah. You can also reverse flick off the window if you want. See, you can reverse flick off the stud as well. And then if I'm a slow roll, I'm just going to grab the bottom of the window just because, you know, they do have it dialed to where you have a good thumb flick, and I can roll it that way, but, you know, it's just easier to break the detent down there. So yeah, left side, I can easily actuate it. I'm terrible at reverse flicking lefty, so I can't do it, but you probably can. However, looks like we have a tip up, right hand carry only pocket clip. Let me check real quick. It doesn't say if there's lefty versions or not. The ergos on this one, fantastic. At least for my medium-sized hands, choked up right here, nice and locked in. Got enough width to those scales, nice contouring. They did some nice softening. If I'm choked back right here, it's even more comfortable because you have this flare. And I have tons of handle to play around with. And this reverse grip right here, it's okay, it's not bad. I still get nice solid grip. And then if you want to do the reverse gas station knife fight grip, this is rounded over, nice and comfortable. Stick it into a log, make some feather sticks, pierce into a bag of potato chips, whatever you want to do in that manner. Now let's take a look at the handle area. This one has black titanium bolsters. You got these black canvas micarta scales. Like I said, you got a nice contour there. And then you got these milled sections here and here for just some visual effect. And we have the Null Knives signature concaved and textured pivot there. I think it's a nice touch there. I love the look of that pivot, especially whenever it's satin finish. I love it. I love the fact that he didn't just do a straight across bolster. He did just some curvature to it. I think it looks a lot nicer. You have a T8 pivot, T8 hardware throughout. Excellent job. Blind screwed. Pocket clip, meaning it's screwed from the inside, so you don't have any visible holes on the outside of the clip. This is considered a bolster lock, and you also have that beautiful texture on the torque side. You have a hardened stainless steel lock insert. You have that same milling pattern carried over on this side from the show side. The lockup on this one sitting around 30% or so. Access to the lock bar, outstanding. This comes down a little bit lower. Check that texture out right there. It's grippy without being overly aggressive. I can easily get my thumb in there, absolutely no problem, and it's nice and comfortable. I can use the other portion of my thumb. Let's see, if I want to, I can do the claw method. However you like to disengage your lock, you should easily be able to do it, absolutely no problem. And the lockup on this one is a bank vault. No movement in any direction. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Excellent job. I love it when your backspacers have these little grooves in them. It's a risky move. If your blade's not centered, you'll definitely see it right away. But as you see there, it's right down the pipe. And then on your backspacer, you have these little milled sections that are just a nice little added touch there. You don't have any internal milling. All your milling is done on the outside for these micarta scales, as you see there. But this is a big knife, so it's not going to be a featherweight. Bringing the weight on this one to 4.78 ounces. For the size of this knife, I think that's perfectly acceptable. I thought this one carried nicely. I have enough ramp to go over the lip of all my jeans and have enough tension to hold that in there securely. And the way this one cants, it kind of cants the knife as well, keeping it up against the side of the pocket, and that's what I like to see. It's not deep carry, but it's sitting more deep carry than most of my deep carry clips, and you still have something to grab a hold to pull it out of the pocket. Now time for some quick size comparisons. As you can see, it's just a hair smaller than the Microtech SOCOM Elite, and it's a hair longer than the Chris Reeve Knives Omnumzon. And it's a good bit bigger than the Ontario Rat 1 and 2. These are two good size references. It's just a hair shorter than the Microtech MSI, and it's just a hair longer than the Cold Steel Carve. And it's just about identical in length to the Kumbu Pulsar XL, and it dwarfs the Null Knives Voodoo. And lastly, it's just a hair shorter than the Spyderco Manix 2 XL, and it's a little longer than the Microtech Stitch. Before we go into the production updates, I have not even looked at those yet. I'll give you my nitpicks and complaints. The only thing I really see is that, well, first off, there's no lefty love, and I don't know if there's lefty variants. And I do think they should have brought this plunge grind all the way back so you could have some sharpening light before you run into that plunge grind. So hopefully that is something that he's going to be working to fix. Other than that, I think they did a great job. Let's see what kind of updates we got. So first it says we have an extended forward finger choil. Okay, that's cool. So I wonder that could alleviate this. So if they bring it out to like here, I got to kind of grab it by the tip. If you had fat sausage fingers, you're not going to really be able to hold onto that. So if they bring it up some, you're going to have a better sharpening choil and more room. So that's nice. It says the choil will be extended by 0.1 inches to improve usability. Not only improving usability, it's going to improve sharpening life. So I don't know what that's going to look like yet. So hopefully that will take care of that. I think it would have been fantastic though to tell them to bring this plunge grind all the way back here. So even when they're extending that, you're going to have all the sharpening life until you hit the full thickness right here. It's hard for me to tell without sharpening it, but I always like to see those plunge grinds brought back. Makes sharpening a lot easier. I don't have to cut anything in, especially on a premium knife. Next thing, the Torx T8 pivot. Let's check it out. He said it's going to be slightly deepening the pivot torques for greater leverage. Let's see. Okay, I see what he's talking about. It doesn't go that far down. It's not terrible. I've seen worse, but I always like to have more depth there. There's less of a chance of me sliding off of it. And the next thing it says, edge of pivot and tri-studs. So the edges of the pivot and tri-studs will be softened slightly for a refined feel. So on the pivot, I'm guessing you will soften the edges of the pivot right there. I can see that. I guess put a little slight chamfer or deburr that a little bit. And then the edges of the tri-stud, I think they're perfect the way they are because they give you that extra grippiness. But, you know, I trust them. You'll be reducing the logo size by 20%. Let me see what the logo looks like. Yeah, this is probably what your logo is going to look like. That's about a 20% reduction right there. And then last, which does not affect this one at all, the gold camo variant, the gold tie, polished backspacer, and blasted recessed V. So these are your configurations. You can pause and read this if you want. You got natural micarta, and then this is the finishes and the price. You got black micarta, and the only reason that that one's a little bit more expensive is because you got DLC. Is that DLC? Okay, I guess. Then we have black camo carbon fiber. There's the hand rub version. Then they have a fancy pants Damasteel version, gold camo. So it looks like your camo carbons are standard at $425. Except this one right here is going to have a belt satin finish. This one is going to have a hand rub satin, purple haze, belt satin, and a super fancy pants launch exclusive. So your scales will be crystallized tie like this, but a blurple anno instead of this green. Handles, gray crystallized tie. So this portion is going to be that blurple, and then your bolster lock and your frame is going to be gray crystallized tie, I'm guessing. Then the blade on those is going to be the double polished Fafnir Damasteel, however you say it. You're going to have, same as this one, you're going to have crystallized clip and backspacer, satin hardware. So, I mean, crystallized shouldn't be adding too much to the price. You're paying the $725 for the Damasteel blade. So, like this one right here is just, it's got the camo carbon. Damasteel is coming in at $615. So, you know, that's your difference in price with the crystallized tie everywhere. And all crystallized tie, frame, and scales. So, love to hear y'all thoughts on the new Null Knives Vandal. Tontos aren't really my thing. I don't mind this one. I think it's an attractive knife. I love the size of this one. And man, every single Null knife that I've handled, the action is just fantastic. Love it. And that's going to wrap up today's video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave those down below. And if I can't answer you, I will point you in the right direction if I can. I hope every single one of y'all is having a remarkable day today. And remember, keep these blades sharp. Smile more.